I know a full 4 quarters would be best, but this is sort of 2 games in a row where you were kind of in the mud, especially offensively in the first half. This team has another gear, clearly, especially on the defensive end. What's it like to watch your team become themselves at halftime and then into the second half?
Well, we're starting to wrap our minds around our identity, of our pathway to success, and a lot of times that's going to be these defensive games. These are kind of throwback games, circa 1990s. It shows that you can win in different ways, even in today's era. But our guys really dug down the last three quarters and defended. And look, let's not take away, from Indiana in the first quarter. It's not like all us. You can't just say like, "Hey, we turned on a switch." They had some things to say about that, and they had us on our heels, and they were in a great comfort zone in that first quarter. But after that, I think we held them, to 56 for the final 3 quarters. A lot more multiple efforts, some really gritty plays, in that second quarter. And then the third quarter, once we got down, Bam, Jimmy, and Trevor made a lot of really nice plays. And then in the fourth quarter, Andre and Tyler really contributed as well.
There were 2 things you couldn't necessarily get as a team, but 2 players came through. Not a lot of 3-point shots, but Duncan covered that. Not a lot of bench scoring, but Tyler handled that. What's it like to have 2 young guys step forward? So it doesn't always have to be Jimmy and Bam, and that instead of just supporting, in many ways, they led tonight.
Yeah, and that's part of the trust factor that our veterans have for our young players, and our young players have the commitment to continue to develop and get better. Look, our vets are smart. They know that we need our young guys, to play and to contribute and to play winning basketball. Sometimes they're tough on them, but a lot of other times they really breathe life into our young guys. And our young guys are fearless, and they continue to grow and get better. Tyler made some really good defensive plays. In that second half, he had that one loose ball where he really laid himself out there. And offensively, he made a lot of just simple plays, no turnovers, scoring or just making the right reads. And that shows the development and the time he's been putting in behind the scenes, to make winning plays.
Next, we'll go to Anthony Chang.
Hey, Spo, I know the shots went in for Duncan today, but it seems like he's been generating pretty open looks for the past few weeks now. What have you liked about just the stuff he's added to his off-ball package to continue to generate and find different ways to get those open looks?
Yeah, he's becoming a better screener, so that's creating opportunities for other people. He can put the ball on the floor. He's really improved dramatically as a cutter, off-ball player. So it's not just about his three-point shooting, but it's also about staying with it. And if you're getting the right looks and you're generating the right kind of offense for us, and if the ball's not going in, you don't obsess about the result. You stay with it. He's put in the work behind the scenes. He's taking the right shots. A lot of these games, even when he wasn't hitting a high percentage, he was getting over 10 3-point attempts. When he first arrived at the Heat, if he missed 1 or 2, he would never shoot the third or fourth. And you just have to stay with it. All the great shooters, go through some ups and downs, but it all evens out. If you have the skill level, and Duncan clearly has that, and he's been making some tough ones, lately.
Next, we have Cooper Moorhead.
Spo, again on Duncan. First pass, it seemed like him up there with his defensive games this year. A lot of really on point weak side closeouts. Where do you think he's made the most progress on that end of the floor this year?
It's not like an overnight improvement. You're literally talking about hundreds of days of development and drill work and film work, and he's conscientious about it. He takes pride in it. He's very diligent to schemes, and his effort level, is always there. So he's making those efforts, to go from the paint to the three-point line, and his technique has improved because of all that work. I remember when we first signed him, and that stretch run we had 2 years ago. It was tough to play him in any circumstance because his defense was so raw at that point. But he really committed, and he stayed with it even to this point. Every day he's treated it the same way as he did 2 years ago.
Next, we have Josh Moser.
Hi, Coach. When you have Bam and Jimmy just going 0 for in the first half, what do you say to them at halftime? Or do they not need anything?
That the second quarter was much better defensively. And I really like this growth of our team, that we're able to defend, we're able to show some grit and some fortitude if the ball's not going in. That was a real issue early on in the season. If the ball wasn't going in, we weren't defending. Now we're starting to do tough things regardless of how the offense is functioning. I took that as a good sign. I thought we really defended well and showed some grit in that second quarter. And it was a matter of time before your best players, really impose their will on the game. So I like that.